But ultimately, this is the way that I like England to play. Again, they were clearly the more confident of the two teams, but I like it when England are on the front foot. I like it when they're using all this young talent. I just think that... Time with Bordejo here. Thank you very much for joining me as always. And that's right, it's a football video. Don't worry, when the World Cup is done, it will just be Football Sunday. Sunday is football day now. As we talked about with a couple of the Arsenal videos, but I also said when the World Cup did start, which it did indeed yesterday, that we would react to all the England games. So literally about 15 minutes ago, whatever it may be, England have finished their match against Iran. They won 6-2. And... what did I think about this? Well, it's a very difficult World Cup to watch. I do believe you have to talk about this. People will now be rolling their eyes saying, I'm so bored about hearing about it. Well, I'm sure people are bored of being discriminated against, but they still have to suffer through it. So I think we should talk about it as well. The most disappointing thing of the day was when all the FAs came together, or at least a selection of the FAs came together to back down to FIFA's request, because all the captains were going to wear a One Love armband for obvious reasons. For some reason, the rules were then magically changed. Not sure how legal that is, but FIFA did it anyway, to say, no, you must wear our discrimination armband. And after the captains got threatened with being booked, they decided not to do it. Now, while I can understand that on one hand, it kind of doesn't make any sense to me. And again, I could be completely wrong. Please educate me in the comments below. I think that's the only way we learn and grow as people. But the way that I kind of look at it is... if you're going to make a stance and you're going to draw a line in the stand, you don't just run away when there's consequences. No, that's when you double down on it. I don't see why Harry Kane couldn't have worn it once and got one booking. Is that a problem? I don't know. Would I even have cared if he got sent off? Maybe not, because of the message it would have sent around the world. Why can't Gareth Southgate wear it? Why can't they all come out wearing the armband? And then you just book every single one of them and then you can take it off. At least you've done something. So that did sully my entertainment of the game. I totally get it. Keep politics out of sport. I don't think you can keep politics out of anything. I just don't think you can. Politics is too big, especially in 2022. However, throwing that to one side, I do have all my information and my stats down here because I will forget. I actually thought it was pretty impressive. We do have to throw the old cliche in there. You can only beat who's in front of you. And I believe that Iran are 20th in the world. Now, the FIFA World Rankings are absolutely ridiculous. You look at some teams, you're like, how did you ever come to that kind of an opinion? But if we do you use that as somewhat of a caveat, you just beat the 20th best team in the world. And you just beat them, you kind of rocked them. And if you don't know the team and you're watching this for some reason to be updated, probably not the best idea. It was Pickford, Trippier, Stones, Maguire, Shaw, Rice, Bellingham, Saka, Mount, Sterling, and Kane. So... I suppose the only big surprise there is that Gareth Southgate played a 4 and he included Harry Maguire. Now, Maguire, in my opinion, beforehand, I was going to do a video saying what I thought, what my team would have been. I never got round to it. I thought, you know what, I'll just wait till the end of the game. I wouldn't put Harry Maguire in my starting 11. I wouldn't, based on his form for Manchester United, and he's been all over the place. Doesn't mean that I think he's a bad player. My personal opinion when it comes to internationals, you should just have as much fun as possible, right? I don't know why. That's just how I see it. Could be totally wrong. Again, you can let me know below. So I would always just I would literally take a bunch of people, screw them if they got experience or not. So I would have taken, Ivan Toney, that's a bit of an asterisk. However, I would have taken Ivan Toney, I would have put Saka in there. I would have put... the Newcastle striker, he came on. What's his name? I've forgotten his damn name. Wilson, I put Callum Wilson on, and I would have just gone run right. I would have taken Dan Burns, I think it was, Newcastle, the defender. I would have just played everybody on form, but this is why I'm not the England manager. However, we played Harry Maguire, and he actually looked quite good. He looked quite solid. Again, not playing against top-tier opposition. That could change down the line if we come up against a Brazil, an Argentina, a Spain, a Germany, whoever it may be. But genuinely, no, I would say if you're going to look for a weakness in the team, it's still in defence. The first goal, I thought that Stones and Maguire we'll use football terms, done too easily. What was the Iranian striker's name? It was Taremi, who scored both goals. And now, this is the thing I love about the World Cup. I wasn't massively familiar with him beforehand, but now just from the commentary, what people are telling me, looks like a very decent football player. But I thought he turned Maguire and Stones way too easy, in my personal opinion. And then if we talk about the second Iran goal, that penalty was weird. And I don't mind the shirt pulling being a problem, but it has to be a problem throughout the game. And this isn't just a World Cup problem, it's a Premier League problem. It'll be a Championship problem if they ever get VAR. Sometimes shirt pulling is pulled up on, sometimes it's not, but whatever. It's football. Ultimately, you win the game, you win the game. It's not great because you do need some kind of consistency when it comes to refereeing, and VAR already in this World Cup. That offside yesterday in the Qatar game was just... what is the point? What is the point? It's so tight. I didn't think that was the idea of VAR, but whatever. However, you score 6 goals against anyone in your first match of a World Cup, even if it is your easiest of the 3 games, which you could argue that it is. It depends how USA play. I think they could be a dark horse. You never know. And Wales have, they have so many world-class players or former world-class players that you can never count them out. I know it's only their first World Cup since 1956 or whatever. I would never count them out. If they turn up and they're motivated, you just never know. They're a flip of a coin team. However, Jude Bellingham scores in the 35th minute. That's awesome. He's already being linked to Liverpool in January. I don't know where that's coming from. That better not happen. That's no good for Arsenal, who are my team. Yes, you hate me now. It's fine. But for his age, 19 years old, so self-assured, proper player, proper talent, seems very down to earth and understands that he can't get too carried away, even though, again, just from a natural talent point of view, he's just crazy, absolutely crazy. Say with Saka, actually. So, Bellingham got 1 goal, Saka got 2 goals. I always, as someone that used to play football, obviously a long time ago, and always wanted to be a striker, it's just the way they take their goals. Like they've been doing it all their life, which they have done, but they were born to do it. They truly were. Sterling gets on the score sheet as he always does, especially in early World Cup games. Rashford got a goal, which I thought was doubly good because, of course, he came on. And if your substitutes are coming on and scoring goals, then that's pretty good. And it was the same for Jack Grealish, who I think came on at the same time as Rashford. So on paper, this looks pretty good. Now, are we going to set up this way against the teams that are better than us on paper? We don't know. But hopefully this can be some sort of a template for what we're going to do down the line. I like Bellingham and Rice sitting sort of in the back a little bit because Bellingham naturally is going to be more free-flowing and Rice can hold back, and because he's best friends with Mason Mount, they can kind of link together. I am a big fan of Raheem Sterling. I know he's not playing very well for Chelsea. This is where I go back and become a hypocrite or a contradictory so-and-so on what I just said. He's always so good for England, I would just play him because he's a bit like Wales, the football team. I always think you could do something. I mean, he's better than Wales, but... Gonna get in trouble, but you know what I'm saying. And Harry Kane up top. I mean, it's a bit weird that your main striker doesn't get a goal and your captain, but I don't care about that because Harry Kane has proven in past World Cups that he probably will get a bunch of goals. He won the Golden Boot one year, right? Maybe the last European Championships, the World Cup, can't remember. So you know that he can do it. So if you've got all other areas of the team scoring goals, I actually think that bodes well for whatever may come down the line. I should also point out, I meant to say this at the start of the video, I know I've called it, England are going to win the World Cup. Do I think that? No, not particularly, but that's a funny YouTube title, and it made me laugh. So, ultimately, I mean, Maguire, I thought Maguire came off with a concussion, but apparently, just before I came on this, he didn't come off with a concussion. However, that just may be the England medical staff saying that, because it is a concussion. He's out for 10 days, and they probably wanted to start in the next game. Slight tangent, screw football, screw sports. You've got a concussion, rest. It's not worth it. All the stuff we're seeing with dementia and stuff now, I don't think you want to muck around. You don't want to muck around with that. And Foden came on in the 71st minute too. Apparently, he picked up an injury, but he looked pretty good. But ultimately, this is the way that I like England to play. Again, they were clearly the more confident of the two teams, but I like it when England are on the front foot. I like it when they're using all this young talent. I just think that while you can overly worry about the defence, because it's definitely the shakiest part of the team, don't worry about that. Don't play down to your weaknesses. Play up to your strengths. And when you can bring on people like, I'm just checking out, I haven't missed anyone. But yeah, when you could have brought on... you did what you did. You put on Grealish, Foden and Rashford. These are attacking players who are kind of in form for their team. Yeah, Grealish is playing pretty well. And then when you go through the rest of the substitutes, there's other people you could have brought on too. I mean, Kyle Walker's injured and wasn't able to play, but he can come on and he's going to provide you with crazy pace down the right, which you're probably going to need if you come up against someone like Mbappe for France. Alexander-Arnold, he'll ping balls in all day. So I hope that we stick with this. I wouldn't mind to see Ben White have a game if Maguire isn't able to play, but I would say that I'm massively biased. I'm an Arsenal fan. But I think when you take everything, as it was presented to us, I think it's a very, very good result. Like, again, if Manchester City, for example, beat Nottingham Forest 6-2, nobody would go, oh, they conceded 2 goals. No, you'd be like, just bipped them. They bopped them. And I think it's the same with this. And I'm not comparing those two. I'm just saying Nottingham Forest just come up to the Premier League, Man City the champions. You just assume that it could happen. And in a World Cup, if you can beat teams, heading towards double figures, I'm exaggerating a little bit, that on paper looks good. But of course, now you have to play USA, who again, I do think is a dark horse. They play very, very fast football, and they do have a lot of players that are getting better and better. And you can see them dotting around the Premier League now, because again, the money they're putting into the MLS, etc., and their school system. And Wales, it's a home derby, if you want to call it that. They've got Gareth Bale, they've got Aaron Ramsey, they've got, what's his damn name? He moved recently, and he's so good. I can't remember his name because I'm an idiot. Anyway, we'll talk about that when we get to the Wales game. But I do prefer club football to international football. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. I don't like this World Cup on paper. It bothers me a lot. I have a struggle with it. But in terms of just sitting down and watching a game of football. I thought it was fun. I thought it was exciting. And I think if England can carry this on, they should do really well. I don't see why they don't. And I think if they get to the quarters or the semis, that to me, given the skill level of the other teams, would be a success. I know, of course, we want to win it, but sometimes I like to look at football realistically, much like I look at wrestling. If you get to the quarterfinals, you get knocked out by a France, I wouldn't be, it depends on the game, you know. As long as you're competitive, I wouldn't be too devastated. Anyway, that's it. That's my thoughts. We'll do the same for the USA game, the Wales game. If we get through the groups, we'll do it for the rest. And then the videos will become Football Sunday. That's why I put a fitness one up earlier, just so you know it's not going to go crazy. So please do check that out. Otherwise, thank you very much. I do like talking about football. I haven't been able to do it. I used to work for Arsenal Football Club and sadly didn't be able to continue that after the pandemic. So hopefully you will humour me and allow me to do this. And if you do have any thoughts, opinions, drop them in the comments below. Like the video, share the video and subscribe. Click the bell, ding ding. So you know videos are going live, notification crew. There will be another football video, hopefully on the screen. Who knows what YouTube is going to do. Otherwise, goodmine.com/Simon get 10% off. If you're looking for fitness supplements, get my Fitness Palace of Love tea. That's the gym. It's all in the description down there. I'll let you find it for yourself. At Simon316 on Instagram and Twitter. I'm on Cameo. If you want to talk about the football, we can do that. Cameo has no rules. That's it. Thank you very much. We move on to the next game. And Wales USA will be this evening too. I will watch that. Will I talk about it? No. You probably barely care about this one, so I won't push my luck. Goodbye.